This prawn dhansak is incredibly easy. As you'll see, we have very few ingredients for it. We're using very few spices, yet I think it manages to capture all the flavour of a full fat version and one that would contain 3 times this number of spices. So we're going to start with a knob of butter, about a, as you can see, it's about a heaped teaspoon. We'll just pop that in the pan. And once that starts to melt, we'll add in a punnet of cherry tomatoes. One of the little punnets they sell in any supermarket, which is about, it's about 250 grams of cherry tomatoes. There's no need to be totally exact on it. And we'll just start to fry those off slightly in the butter. They'll soon start to sizzle away. There's something really wonderful about the smell of tomatoes as they cook. If it's fresh tomatoes, they almost citrusy hint, the sweet, juicy hit that you get. It smells wonderful. I've always really wanted to try fried green tomatoes, which a friend of mine was talking about the other day, and which I've been fascinated to try ever since the movie all those years ago. You know it's time to add the other ingredients when the juice starts oozing from those cherry tomatoes, and they start to soften significantly. Then it's time to pop everything else in. So we have a red chili. I have removed the seeds. Because of the delicate flavours of the prawns, we don't want to overpower them. I'd normally leave seeds in for an extra heat hit, but as I say, we don't want to overpower those prawns. Then into that we add 2 very finely chopped cloves of garlic. Then 1 teaspoon of garam masala, 1 teaspoon of mild curry powder. Again, I normally go for heat and would almost always use hot curry powder, with the exception of times like this when we've got a very subtle, very delicate flavour and we don't want to kill it in those prawns. And now we pop in a tin of lentils which have already been drained and rinsed. Just give that a good stir. And now we want to get a little bit of liquid into that. So we will add the juice of half a lemon. And we will add 100 millilitres of stock. Doesn't really matter whether it's vegetable or fish stock, purely up to personal choice or whatever you have close to hand. And we will let that simmer down for about 2 to 3 minutes until those juices start to be absorbed by the lentils and also start to reduce. So that has been bubbling away for a few minutes. And as you can see, lots of the liquid has been absorbed by the lentils and it has reduced nicely. So we now want to add a heaped tablespoon full of reduced fat creme fraiche. If you're not calorie counting, feel free to use the full fat version, but I'm trying to lose the lockdown pounds, so the half fat one is it's going to be the option for quite a few of these recipes. So just give that a good stir, and then finally we are going to add our prawns. Now I have used a bag of frozen raw prawns, which I have defrosted and deveined. So those bags generally contain about 225 grams of raw prawns. So if you're buying from the fresh counter, then go for a quantity something similar to that. Now these go in right at the end because they literally take about 2 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes for the color to change and for those to be cooked. And there's nothing worse than overcooked prawns. So just pop those in when it's almost ready. Now I have salt here in case I wanted to season it. I know I'm not going to want to because I've used the stock in there. Any stock cube or stock pot is always going to have a relatively high volume of sodium in it. So I don't want to make it overly salty. Everybody's palate's different, so if you do think that you'd like an extra little blast of salt, feel free to just add it in now. And those prawns have already lost that translucency and they're turning a lovely rich pink colour. And that is our low-fat, I say low-fat, compared to some of the other recipes that contain lots of ghee and oil and everything else, the only thing that we have put in there is a knob of butter and a tablespoonful of reduced fat creme fraiche. So really healthy, really low in fat, and a minimum of ingredients. And that's it ready. It makes a great side dish, or you can have it on its own as a tasty lunch or a lovely supper. Food you believe it.